If you are planning a trip to South Dakota, you have to add in Badlands National Park. It is such a beautiful place to explore, and today I want to talk about the 8 things you can't miss on your first visit. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes, and I have spent so much time in South Dakota. It's one of those places that a lot of people plan on going to Mount Rushmore, but don't think much beyond that. And a lot of people, even if you say you're going to South Dakota, pretty much the only thing that people know is there is Mount Rushmore. So today we're going to venture out a little bit further and talk about Badlands National Park, which is in the Rapid City area. It's still right there with all of those cool things that you can do. It's a little bit further removed and a little bit quieter than some of the other things that you'll see while you're in the Rapid City area. And this has quickly become one of my favorite underrated national parks in the country. So let's jump in and talk about the best things to do in Badlands National Park. Number 1, the Notch Trail. We're starting with a bang here. The Notch Trail is one of my favorite trails in any national park. It's a short trail. It's only about 1.5 mile round trip, but it has a massive ladder that is bolted to the cliffs that you have to climb to get up into the Badlands of this area and really explore. And so it's really fun. The pictures are epic. It feels really adventurous. And yet it's still a pretty good trail for families and people who just don't hike a lot. It's doable for a lot of people, even though the ladder looks a little bit scary in pictures and videos. It actually doesn't feel that bad while you're on it. So it's just a really fun trail to add in, and this is something that you definitely don't want to miss in Badlands. Now, if you do take younger kids on this trail, which I have before, my kids hike a lot and they're used to stuff like this, you will want to be aware that aside from the ladder itself, once you get to the top of that ladder, you will be on some cliff edges. And so you'll just want to keep your little ones close if you're hiking this trail with them. But it's really fun because you follow these cliffs to what is called the Notch, which is just a saddle between 2 of the Badlands formations. And then you're looking out over a big expanse of the park. So it's a nice short trail. It's very adventurous. It's fun for all ages. And it's definitely something you won't want to miss. Looking at a map of Badlands National Park. So here's the north unit. This is where we're focusing our time. There are a couple of other units down here, but most people just focus their time up here. And this is where the can't miss activities are. And you've got Rapid City out this way, about an hour. But here is Badlands National Park. And so to get to the Notch Trail, you're going to come over here by this northeast entrance. And your Notch Trail is just right over in here. It doesn't even show it on this map, but it's right in here where these bathrooms are. And you'll just hike back in here. Again, it's a very short trail. There's a giant parking lot here, and it's a really, really cool area of the park. Number 2, the Roberts Prairie Dog Town. So there are a lot of prairie dogs in this area. You'll see them all throughout the park, but if you go to a prairie dog town, you have a really good chance of just seeing a bunch of them at the same time. And that's why we like to go to the Roberts Prairie Dog Town in Badlands National Park. Do be aware that as you're visiting this, you're going to want to give these prairie dogs some space. And also never feed them or approach them or anything like that. They are wild. So go enjoy watching them run around, and they'll be barking at you if you feel like a threat to them. But they're really fun to watch. My kids especially really love watching the prairie dogs in this park. So looking at the map, the Roberts Prairie Dog Town is located along the Sage Creek Rim Road. And this is a dirt road that is separate from this main loop road that goes through the park. And so a lot of people just don't even come down here, but you'll find the Prairie Dog Town right here. This is also a really cool place to look for bison or bighorn sheep. We have really good luck wildlife sighting out here, and so that's really fun. But also, the main reason that I bring up the Roberts Prairie Dog Town is just to get you on the Sage Creek Rim Road for a minute, because this road is absolutely gorgeous. It's quiet. You'll find a lot more solitude out here. It's beautiful. You still have great Badlands views. And again, it's a really cool place to see prairie dogs and other wildlife in the park. Number 3, Panorama Point. Panorama Point is one of many beautiful viewpoints in Badlands National Park. There are a bunch, and so I picked a couple of my favorites for this list, but just know as you're driving the Badlands Loop Road, stop wherever you're interested because there are a lot of really great views. The thing that I love about Panorama Point is it's just really cool to see the Badlands come up and out of the prairie land. It's a really dramatic view of the Badlands, and I just think it's gorgeous. So it's definitely one of my can't miss stops in Badlands National Park. Okay, so looking at the map, here's the main loop road through the park, and you're going to drive this Badlands Loop Road to right here to get to Panorama Point. Again, this is just one of my favorites, but you'll see that there are a lot of viewpoints that I haven't mentioned that are along here. There's a couple trails in this area. I really like this Bigfoot Pass area. It's really pretty. You're pretty close to the visitor center, which is down here. So most people, when they come to the Badlands, they'll just drive along this loop road and stop wherever anything looks interesting. And so I definitely recommend doing that. But don't miss Panorama Point as you're driving that loop road. Number 4, the Cliff Shelf Nature Trail. There are a couple of really nice short trails in Badlands. I really like the Cliff Shelf Nature Trail, mostly because this is a pretty sparse landscape. There's not a lot of trees. You're mostly looking at prairie land and Badlands, which is great. But I really like the Cliff Shelf Nature Trail because it actually gets you into some trees, into some junipers, into some greenery, and it adds some really nice texture to the photos and the landscape just to have those beautiful Badlands up against the greenery. This hike is only a half a mile round trip, and it's mostly on boardwalks, and so it's a really nice one if you're just wanting to take a quick jaunt through the juniper forest and see some nice Badlands views. You're right below where the Notch Trail ends, and so it's just a really interesting area, I think, and it's a really nice trail for people of all ages and abilities. The Cliff Shelf Nature Trail is right over here by the Ben Rifle Visitor Center. So the Visitor Center is down here, and this little pull-out just right above it is the Cliff Shelf Nature Trail. And again, it just loops around for a half a mile, kind of at the base of the Badlands, and gives you a different view of this beautiful park. Number 5, Yellow Mounds Overlook. This is another stop along the Badlands Loop Road that is just really cool. And it's really cool because not only do you have the Badlands formations, but they are a vibrant yellow in this area. And so it's a really cool place to stop and get out, take some really cool pictures, but also you can climb around the Badlands in this area. You can hike up to the top of one of the yellow mounds. You can just hang out here for a minute and enjoy the vibrant colors of this particular part of Badlands National Park. The cool thing about this yellow layer is that it's actually one of the oldest layers of rock in Badlands. It used to be the bottom of a shallow sea, and when it got exposed to the air, it turned that vibrant color of yellow. So not only are you looking at something really exciting, something that just infuses color into everything, but you're also looking at a very interesting piece of the geological history of this area. Yellow Mounds is located along the Park Loop Road, so as you're driving over here, you'll find it right here. So it's pretty close to this Pinnacles entrance of Badlands National Park. Number 6, Saddle Pass. Saddle Pass is another really fun short trail that you can do in Badlands National Park. Now, something that's really interesting about Badlands that a lot of people don't realize is that this park actually has an open hike policy. And so if you stop somewhere, you can just go and walk on the Badlands. You can climb on the Badlands pretty much anywhere in the park. But if you want a more traditional trail or you're looking for an actual trail, Saddle Pass is a really fun way to climb up the Badlands on a set route. So we really like Saddle Pass because it feels very adventurous. This trail is only 0.7 miles round trip. It's really short, but it's difficult because you're climbing basically straight up the Badlands. I don't have a lot of luck on this trail because I am not very sure-footed. I get nervous when I feel like I'm going to just slide down the cliffs. And so I typically will just start the trail and go up as high as I feel comfortable. My husband usually goes all the way to the top. When you get to the top, it meets up with a couple of different longer trails in the park, so you can keep hiking if you want to. Or you can just get up to the top of the pass, enjoy the view, and then go back down very, very carefully because it gets really slick. The Saddle Pass Trail is located really close to the Ben Rifle Visitor Center. So we've got the Visitor Center Campground Lodge area right here. And you'll just go along the Badlands Loop Road for a minute and you can see this little short trail that goes up right there. That is the Saddle Pass Trail. And so it is an official trail. You can get in there, you can climb on the Badlands in this area, and then you'll notice when you get to the top, it converges with the Castle Trail and the Medicine Route Trail right here. So there is more hiking you can do in this area. These are pretty much the only official longer trails in the park. And so a lot of people like to be on these trails, but going up Saddle Pass is a really fun way to explore this area. Number 7, Pinnacles Overlook. This is another very beautiful overlook along the Badlands Loop Road, and so you'll definitely want to stop at this one. When you get here, you'll find a large parking lot and a short walk down to the actual overlook, but the views are really nice from the parking lot as well. So if you don't want to hike or if you can't hike down to the actual overlook, this one is still definitely worth a stop. The Pinnacles Overlook is right here, and it's really close to the Pinnacles entrance. So a lot of people come into the park from Wall, which is up here, this town up here. You come straight down and it's almost a straight shot to the Pinnacles Overlook. Because of that, this overlook will probably be the busiest stop that you make along the Loop Road, except for like the Notch area over here. So this area stays very busy, but it's just a short stop with some very, very beautiful views of all the Badlands out here. Number 8, the Door Trail. I really like this trail because it feels adventurous. And I think that's really the cool thing about Badlands National Park is you can find adventure wherever you go. And a lot of these trails are really short, but they feel like you're out exploring and off the beaten path, and it's just really fun. So the Door Trail is one of those trails for me. It's only a 0.75 mile round trip hike. So again, another nice short one. And what you'll do is you'll walk along a boardwalk to the door, which is basically just a spot in between some of the Badlands. And there's some really cool views from here. But beyond that boardwalk, you can walk actually off the boardwalk at that point and follow some stakes that they've put in the ground. And so this is a really fun one, especially for younger kids. We love hiking this one with our little kids because we'll send them out and say, okay, we found this stake. Now where's the next one? And then they'll look and they'll explore and they'll try to find the next stake that marks the path. And so it's just a really fun, adventurous feeling hike without it being too difficult. So the Door Trail is found actually in the same parking lot as the Notch right over here near the northeast entrance. You have the Door Trail, the Window Trail, which is even shorter, and then you have the Notch Trail. So 3 different things you can do from the same parking lot, plus you're really close to these longer trails over here. So you'll definitely want to focus a good amount of your time right over here in this parking lot for the Door and the Notch. Now, I know I only said 8 things you can't miss, but there are a couple other stops you'll definitely want to make that are outside of the park, but you'll want to stop here while you're visiting Badlands. So the first bonus stop is Wall Drug. And Wall Drug is located in the little town of Wall, just right outside of the Pinnacles entrance of Badlands. And Wall Drug is just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just shops, restaurants. They have like a giant animatronic dinosaur. They have like a jackalope you can take your picture on. It's a really funky place that just has a lot of different shopping options. They have their famous free ice water. You can get 5-cent coffee. The donuts are really good. We really like the roast beef sandwiches at the cafe or the restaurant. And so it's just one of those places you need to stop. It is part of the Badlands experience. The second bonus stop is the Minuteman Missile National Historic Site. This is a site that is run by the National Park Service, and it's just right outside of Badlands National Park. Near the northeast entrance of the park is where you will find the visitor center for Minuteman Missile. So it's just right across the road, right across the highway from the entrance to Badlands. But they have a visitor center here. You can take a tour of the actual underground facility that they used to launch these missiles. And you can also go and you can see a missile in the ground. And so it's really cool. The whole history of the Minuteman missiles is just so fascinating. And you can stop here for just, 30 minutes, or you can spend longer and do some tours if you want to. But it's definitely worth a stop while you are in the Badlands area. I am so excited for you to visit Badlands, but truth be told, there is just so much to do in this area of South Dakota. And so if you need any help planning your time in Badlands, if you want a good hour-by-hour schedule of when to be where, especially if you're hoping to get really nice pictures or see some wildlife or avoid the crowds, then you'll definitely want to pick up the South Dakota itinerary on dirtandmyshoes.com. This itinerary I wrote to cover all of the South Dakota national parks in the area. And so it includes Badlands, it includes Mount Rushmore, it includes Wind Cave, Custer State Park, Deadwood. It includes everything that's right in that area. And I can help walk you through all the just really awesome sites of the Black Hills. It also includes Devil's Tower, which is not that far from this area either. So if you need any help planning your trip to South Dakota, pick up one of these itineraries because I will walk you through everything you need to know to have the perfect vacation to the Rapid City area. I am so excited for you to explore this really fun, family-friendly area. And if you need any help with this, be sure to check out dirtandmyshoes.com or subscribe to this YouTube channel for even more tips and tricks for the Rapid City area and the national parks.